today. We'll do another run of Slipways. Yes. A standard run again. Where's my... That is. And we'll be going for a hospitable sector this time, apparently. And we're going to be playing with Alphorians, Bakar, and Sulthid. Okay, it's kind of a newer combination. And we'll get Reciprocity and Space Architects as our perks. So... should take care of that. Okay, so Space Architects allows us to reduce our build time by 1 month. While Reciprocity, notes here, should get us extra money with every two-way trade, I believe. So Space Architect is interesting if we get access to some kind of structure. There are a couple of that I see already. There is the Microforges again. There is also Monoliths available. Although you would typically build one of those. There's also hyperdrives available, which might lead to monoliths actually being fairly good. Place one in the center of a good empire and you can get a lot of extra happiness, right? One for every connection you make to it. Sleep replacement, economic zones, gene adjustment, and brain-machine interface. There's quite a bit of money tech in here, which is very nice. Alternatively, there's geo-harvesting available. We might not need it. Ideally, we don't need that, but... Of course, Novatori means science will be a little harder. The hospitable sector means there's going to be more Earth-like planets, I believe. I think it's double the regular amount. Earth-like planets are very valuable, especially as Gaia worlds. Gaia worlds being people into water and biomatter. Making two resources at the same time for a fairly available input. And those resources work fairly well as double exports of various kinds of farms as well. I can do this scan for 6 signals here. Each one of those 6 signals would be... Let's see, 3 good planets, 3 medium planets. So this one would be left. We also have quite a hard time dealing with this one there. Something that's generally a good idea though, because there's so many signals here that we might find ourselves an immediate start. I'll take it. We didn't get much at all, but we did find an Earth-like. So this is a good start. Gaia World is a monoculture farm if we have some kind of use of the farm. There's a desert apparently we revealed. We don't have any tech to make use of a desert. Yeah, hydroponic farms I believe is a Dender exclusive. So it wouldn't be possible for us to get it. So here's the major issue with this start. I suppose I could do this. There's no good way of incorporating this center medium signal without wasting a lot. But these two are very valuable if I want to know what this primordial can do. So we'll take it in a little bit of a silly way. So now we have an output guaranteed. And it's quite likely we'll find an input here too. And if not, we have a guaranteed input of people here too. I think we'll start with this. So monoculture farm and then a double connection, right? Which is get us 6 straight income. 3 because it's still struggling, which is fine. So let's have a look around and see if we find some kind of people producing planet. Ideally about here would be think we did not. Although the remnant will accept water. And the Forge World will be a good user of the bots we create to make goods at. So yeah, that's a thing. Of course, out of range of our swamp here. Well, this one's in range. That would be a two-way trade. That's nice. Let's have a look up here, see if we can find some other source of people as well. There's another Earth-like. That's okay as a source. Explore the designated area. So we get to look at missions at the start of year 2. Explore designated area is close by, in fact. I'm not intending on making a lot of robots because we're making our food directly. So I could take these two. They're also the most money in the second tier of tasks. Oh yeah, I'll take them. So now this asteroid will have to be taken if I go for the swamp. I do want to go for the swamp because of our reciprocity perk. This will help. And then that will gain an additional 8 income. Which basically means this is a 3 cost slipway instead of an 11 cost one. Effectively speaking. And then I kind of want to know what I'm supposed to be doing with this remnant. I suppose making robots would be the answer. But doing so immediately will result in a 3 cost for the year. So I might not want to do that. This person would be able to go back. I would like to know if this Earth-like can be fed. Because it can't be from here, because A, out of range, and B, there'd be another Earth in the way. It's looking like we're going to be able to. So this can become a colony. The colony is cheap. It's only 1 upkeep, so I'll be willing to take a 1 income penalty to be able to place a colony. This allows me to not have to worry about efficiency too much. So now the question becomes, what do we want to do here? Minerals or bots? Minerals will allow me to go into either bots or chips or other things, and are probably the most flexible choice. If I knew what was here, I don't think it matters too much. I think actually minerals will be the choice I want in any case. It could be robots, but then the only things we can make in 2 places are goods, and it doesn't seem like it would be a good idea to make goods in both places. This one would be good for goods, but this feels like the better solution. And this allows me to completely utilize this asteroid for 24 gain. We don't have asteroid pop tech, so it's not in the cards. So now here, robots are available if I want them to, in order to make food up here from the jungle. Or even mechanized harvest, which allows this to make food. If it connects, and it does, but is highly expensive. Perhaps not the most brilliant idea I'd ever had. Besides, an extra farm down here will count as another effective 2-way trade. And it will make the Gaia world output double, which would be really nice. So when I look at this, we cannot afford that, but with the asteroid pop we can. We still can't afford this though. Those are some expensive connections. But they're still fairly good. If I do that, I gain an extra water and biomatter. And by adding another 20, by paying 20, I get another nearly 10 income. So we end up with 30 income. And 7 out of 8 here, which means maximum relative efficiency, but we're kind of going at it fairly slowly at getting the game. Now, do we have access to some kind of use of this jungle other than we don't have xenotourism? That's unfortunate. We have brain-machine interface semaphorians. Xenotourism would be nice here, actually. This is a very good candidate for it because it has access to goods and potentially robots. Unfortunately, we don't have the tech available. So I don't have too many asteroids. Maybe I'll be able to reveal one if I scout this as one, but it's not. It said it's empty. Which means the only one we have is this one, and it doesn't connect anywhere save maybe this one here. I'm not convinced I want to use this forward world yet. It could make goods, but it's out of range. This one could as well, but only for one planet. Using the ore seems useful though. Right? This might, to be honest, need to be robots. We have freeze-resistant bots, which can be used to make water, which can go here and there. There's lots of spaces for it. Freeze-resistant bots. There's like a lot of ice balls around here, actually. So freeze-resistant bots has fairly, high amount of uses available to it when it comes to our techs. We don't really have any tech yet, right? But I can see myself getting some, to be honest. There's also an argument to be made for doing microchips on this planet. Allowing a microchip lab to be made with a people or a person here, a microchip here, and a microchip there. And the microchips are then useful at the swamp for our colony. And the second ore is useful for goods for both directions. Getting the swamp its food might be tricky. But that does make use of both ores. And also, getting a freeze-resistant bot working might become difficult. It's all not very ideal. Might end up scanning and skipping the rest of this year. Sending a probe here. Reveals lots of forge worlds everywhere. Not a lot to do with them though. Okay. Can't do anything more. So I should probably reveal this one. Because we're planning on making goods here. And that unlocks Aphorians. This unlocks more population. And this might be chips. Might be, doesn't have to be. Have a look-see here. So Where would the secondary people producing planet be, right? It could be here on the arid. It could be on the Earth. If it's on the Earth, how's it going to get its food? The Earth could get its food from potentially the swamp world. That means making a robot here instead of a chip, which is a bit unfortunate. Do we have something available that allows us that? Well, we do later have flexible fabrication as well. So it feels like a real shame not to make some chips. Although we do also have microforges available later, which might be the thing that makes the chips. But how is this going to get an extra ore output? I guess there's deep drilling, which could do that then. A lot of tech to do to solve this inner system, right? If I don't make any chips, then this will never get successful, nor will this one, right? And chips would be good for the lab. It's just difficult to satisfy this plant's need when there are no other alternative ways of making robots, that is remnant plants around this area. If there was a remnant extra, we could potentially do chips here and have the swamp be the colony. Right now though, the option doesn't really seem viable to do that. Let's have a look what these two are. I just want to know. So there's another primordial, which makes for a strong food producer. So this could be biomatter into food into humans, and that's closed. And that can input. Though making a biomatter here is a bit iffy too. Because it can only be used in one place, which is the primordial. Although maybe we can laboratory it later. I would pop it on the Earth. Yeah, so we would want to skip for the rest of this year. We'd be missing out another 4 months. But then hopefully next year we'll be able to support creating quite a few things with all these asteroids. I'm still a little bit off of doing the mission. Maybe I'll have a look-see at... So what about the alternative, right? The alternative is to send a thing here, send a thing there. How far are you? You're out of range of that. That's the problem, right? How far are you away from here? Also out of range. Like, we'd have to somehow make this a farm, which is again out of range, right? It's like kind of like not the way you wanted to do it. But these are hard to deal with. You have no bots for them. There is an ore here, so I could make robots here without too much of a hassle. Or microchips, in fact, right? Although those wouldn't really find too much use. It's only in the jungle world that I find use. It's probably a robot here into mechanized harvest of some sort. Or a jungle farm, in fact. A jungle farm here could satisfy this Earth. And this planet too. Take its robot from the forge world. And perhaps that's all we have to do. I think a jungle farm here might be it. If this is goods, then, you know. Can this robot find some other uses? Not really. I mean, if this is a jungle farm, it won't. It'll need chips and biomatter. Neither which is going to be available in that case. That's out of range. How would you... Right. And if I consider... Yeah, this robot will just be a singular one then. There's no real other options. Let's see. I would like this to be the colony. If this is the jungle farm, then that's the colony. Then this is a Gaia world question mark. Sending the necessary green stuff into the jungle farm is just a lack of chips everywhere that's going to be a problem. But it does complete the mission, which is sort of like one of those things where looking into things like, can we do it with completing the mission? Problem is, this costs 11. So I'm stuck again not being able to advance. I will hold off on the jungle farm and just build the Earth-like thing first so we can have the asteroid pop. Which would be a Gaia world here. Into a two-way trade because that makes extra money too. Right. And then I suppose this would be chips and this would be another colony. And then that is out of range, so it has to be a jungle farm of some sort or something like that. If this is a colony, then this would be biomatter. So we have 2 biomatter for a biomatter lab. And then this would be food here. So this would be biomatter. Trying to make use out of these asteroids for as much as possible. It does cost an extra 3, but we make up a 6 by popping an asteroid, which is fine. And we get a colony here. And they're having quite a few struggling planets for a bit, but the asteroid's making good on that. And then right. Chips. Now I can start solving most of these things. Sending in the chip there and there. And then there's a human available to be sent. And a box available to be sent. Improving you. Well, I might want to hold off and do this first. Because maybe we'll get a mission to get this something to Prosperous or something. Yeah, this is kind of unfortunate I did this already, right? Let's get the two-way trade mission. This is what we want to do anyway. And then let's get the microchip mission, I suppose. I don't really want to go all the way to the middle of nowhere when I've got so many things to fix over here. So I can finally get my 30 money. And pop you in. We're at 15 planets, which is like exactly where I'd want to be. Hopefully we can get to stay there for a year and set up some science. Because if I stay at 15 planets, we make maximum use out of our money. Minimizing the administration costs essentially is the objective regarding that. So I can add in an extra human here and add some more income. I think that's an okay trade. There's also this, but that's out of range. And there really isn't anywhere else I can send something at this point. Still, I'd like to know what's up here because we might be able to get even more value out of a biomatter laboratory here. And would you know it? I can. This Earth-like would be an excellent Gaia world. it'll send a two-way trade, helping us with our mission, getting us 8 additional credits, and start the science off. Now, I don't want to do that now because I would be paying 16 credits worth of admin costs extra. I do want to know what's over here, so I need to know exactly how I want to position the laboratory. Maybe there's even more biomatter. There's not. So we want to position it sort of central, with the lowest possible total distance. Although, as long as the cost is 3, I can raise the distance a bit further. So now the cost became 4, so it needs to be a little closer than that. This is kind of optimal, right? Also, everything popping successful because of doing this is kind of nice. And we should get 4 science, and up to 6 science with this Earth-like included as well. Though if I do that now, then we get to pay a lot. So ideally we do that in October, August, September, October, which is 3 months from now, of 3409, in order to try to stick to 15 planets for a bit. To make use out of the increased income of being just on the edge of a breakpoint in admin costs. Right, I can spend 9 credits on some explorations just like that because we're making up with an additional 15 credits of gain by, you know, slowing down our expansion a little bit to try to cash in on our good. Okay, we get an additional 2-way trade and an additional 2 science. So now freeze resistant bots becomes available as an option. It's a very good option over here if we could use the bots or something. I guess we could make water. Right now we'd be interested in increasing our income again. Because, well, right. A good way of doing that is gene adjustment and brain-machine interfaces. Both increase our income quite substantially. There's also actually an internal connection we've missed until now. It wouldn't really have been too affordable, but I should make it now. Nonetheless. Yeah, I missed out on that one. So now this water food available here could go to this arid here. Leaving at -3%. We don't have to fix this robot planet if I don't have to. This chain here is, you know, it's okay, but it's rather inefficient. As we told before, I can't really find other uses for the resources produced here. I'd rather look somewhere else where things can have multiple uses. Yeah, this connection here might not be the best. Actually, that might be a better idea because it increases the prosperity of it as well. And we might be able to find that brain-machine interfaces can be built on it now, instead of the contrary, where it wasn't possible. Can I still afford all these other things I want to do? Let's find out, right? These Gaia worlds are very cheap, so it might just work. Also the 2-way trade, right? Unfortunately, the biomatter can't really find a use immediately. I could send it here, right? An additional colony somewhere, and this one will upgrade. And that could happen in the future, and then I'll be able to send its stuff, both of its things, in various places. Let's see here. I could potentially do that, actually, with an Earth-like, as well as a farm here. Would that be bad? If I set up a farm in an Earth-like, I could send in a forebear ruin then from the Earth-like. There's this mineral over here that's just not very useful because it's got no consumers, so I might as well ignore it. So it's all these humans here which don't really have a use. Now, if we have lots of spare humans, there's going to be a late game project that can use them. Not really. So that might be problematic in a sense. It's also true that Earthlikes don't really form any two-way trades, right? The things we have here, I'd rather see an Arctic or something. There's an Arctic here, but it's... I mean, I suppose I could, right? Connect that with this Arctic. It'll form a two-way trade. We're interested in getting these 5 two-way trades because 80 credits is a lot of credits and might allow us to build an additional science laboratory. Ideally before hitting 24, of course, right? That would be sort of the goal. Also have brain machine available if I wanted to. That would probably be the tech to go to for me. It's a very, very strong way of getting lots of money. Problematic is getting more water, right? I mean, that is possible. Just make the Earth-like, send it in there. You get the water. And then you get the food and the things. I'll start with the two-way trade. Which also makes something prosperous, actually. So it actually gains quite a substantial amount of income, both via the two-way trade itself and via increasing the income of various trades around here, because a lot of these plants around here are actually already successful. Which is quite nice. So yeah, if I input this additional Earth-like here, I will be able to send an additional food, and this will also become successful, which is very nice. Let's find out what that does, right? If I do this... Yeah, look, we made an additional food here. Now if I send this additional food, it becomes prosperous too. Right? We just went to 72 income with 20 planets. It's quite the strong showing this early in the game, to be honest. Especially considering we don't have any money techs yet. That's rather incredible. I mean, with a sector with increased amount of Earth-likes, it, you know, makes sense to be able to do something silly like that, but there's also an opportunity to do a microchip lab down here, which I might just take. If I take to December, I could just unlock brain machine interface and place a couple of those and then, you know, build things with that. Now the question is, do we have some projects we might want to build on some of these planets later on that would be precluded by brain machine interfaces, because that makes the tech somewhat less good sometimes. We really don't. There's flexible fabrication, and that's it. The rest are not projects. So really the only things we might want to not upgrade are things that are producing goods or robots, and that would want the other option to be available nearby. We only have the one goods planet. Do we have anything producing robots yet? We don't. There's nothing producing robots. So in general, flexible fabrication is not even so much worth considering right now with what we have. So yeah, we can just sort of freely plant these upgrades. Now, I'd like to upgrade the planets that make the most money. So this one has 16 trade income. It's probably more than anything else. There's 13 here. Yeah, because it's sending 4 resources, even though, you know, it's not prosperous like these. It's sending so much more stuff that, you know, we can get 5 out of here. This has a cost of 3, so I might want to just place 2 instead of 3. So I can get, you know, the extra tempo. So we'll get an additional 7 income and then pop this. We can get 2 goods here, which might be they'll cross the streams, or 51 credits. Either or. So you're at -3. You're at -5, which is still okay. I should now be building a laboratory for our microchips. In general, just sending in microchips from a lab. Getting another 4 science. Getting up to 8 science now. A colony might be possible here as well. Getting a 2-way trade here. So it's getting water, which will also trade with this arid. It's just, you know, the necessity of making food. If I could make food in the center here, I would be able to fulfill both of these needs. For food, that is. Unfortunately, the only available plant is an ice ball. Which even, I mean, lichen farm could work. It needs a lot of things though. And I won't be able to cross the streams. You need to be a little, yeah, I don't think a lichen farm is a good idea. It's kind of risky. You would need a lot of things down here to fix the lichen farm up. I'd love to be able to do it, but I don't think it's reasonable. But, you know, getting those 2-way trades done will allow, and I can quite easily do it with this group of 3 planets. Puts me at 23 as well. I think that's maybe a better option than the other, or the alternative. Let's see here. If I go to November, go to December with that. Right, and then we just skip the final month, I suppose, in order to place another one of these machine interfaces just to keep the income going. Right, it's another 5 income. It's really nice. I could just use an asteroid for another 6. Right. I mean, there's also something to be said for just taking the 48 here. But, you know, the 2 goods might be really nice later. Because they might save us from having to, you know... This area doesn't have any goods. So, getting all the goods means getting all these colonies upgraded with hyperlanes later. We do have hyperlanes, so this can just become 2 things for 2 planets. It's just not very useful right now. Yeah, I might want to hold off on the money. I mean, it might become a lot of money, but... So next up might be freeze-resistant bots, just to advance the tech tree more quickly. And then we can also take gene adjustment. I think freeze-resistant bots is very good just because of the sheer number of ice balls I'm seeing around here. They might just become useful. Alternatively, there's the deep drilling, which... I mean... Right now doesn't even give us any income because we don't have any mines on mineral planets. We have a different kind of mine, and that's the only mine we have. Doesn't seem very valuable. Let's take the cheap tech. And then gene adjustment, because it makes a ridiculous amount of money. Right, 21. Just like that. You're at -6, so we have 1 more year to fix you. So, you know, just hold off on it as long as possible. Because why not? And then let's get a water. I'll fix you. And let's get you a food in here. Or like a person in there. Or an additional science, because why not? There's no reason not to do so. Go up to 11 science this way. And then complete the other mission. Get 80 credits. Let's have a look at making some food. Lichen farm would be perfect. We might be able to do it actually. There is a tech available that would allow us to do it, but we don't have it. There's a tech that allows you to make robots out of biomatter, which would be perfect on primordial worlds, that is, which would be perfect in our situation, but we don't have it available. I might want to look into getting access to some more forebear ruins to see if we can maybe unlock it. There's one here, but this requires goods to be able to do so. It's a bit unfortunate, really. We're short a person. There's also the option of doing a wetland farm. Wetland farm will be able to connect to 2 out of the 3 worlds. This one can also always still be fixed by this primordial world. It would require bots too. There are no robots. So what would be a good way to fix robots here? There is a way to fix robots here, in fact. It involves taking this mineral and taking extreme miniaturization and its upgrade, which would be 50 signs worth of stuff. But it would fix us our unavailability of robots here. Alternatively, there is this forge world here, which could just make robots to send to these ice balls. And that would solve things. I mean, yes. So look at this. I was like, where am I going to make the microchips for our mission, right? Do we have? We don't have the availability to basically. What's the word? To turn things into forge worlds. This is a tech as well, but we don't have that tech. It's also from Silthid. It's not available either. There are fusion plants which I'm eyeing, like plasma containment, which turns water into energy. These ice balls would be, you know, decent sources of water, which would provide the robot in this case. I'm just not sure a lichen farm is, you know, the best course of action to make food. It's the most, you know, connected, but is it going to be the most viable? Probably not, as we cannot get its robot so easily. Which is the real issue. If I commit to it, I won't get the robot. Let's fix this robot instead. See if I can't get a microchip thing. No, but we do get another Earth, which would be more humans. I mean, yeah. I can send in a food here. Making you prosperous. This is very nice. So did I might be able to I have a lot of extra money. I should be using these machine interfaces everywhere I can at this point. There's no real reason not to. Oh, you're just earning 4, perhaps not. This one's earning 9, that's fine to get a machine interface on you. You cannot get one because you don't have enough imports to become successful. It's making 10, that's good. Well, this one too, right? Making only 7, but it's still plus 3 income. It's still going to pay for itself in about 4 years from now. Yeah, all these machine interfaces allow us to get 100 income even though we just pop large, which is nice. I'm going to keep... Okay, so what are we going to fix next? I could just make some food here. Fix this earth. I'm not too sure about that. There isn't really... all these ice balls. There's mass lensing, which could, you know, provide us an access to a robot much more quickly. There's also graphitic tugs available, which I might be able to tug something somewhere in order to make this work. In fact, that might be our answer to a lot of these problems, because tugs as well kind of work well with hyperdrives. If everything's close together, hyperdrives will reach more places, right? And I'll be able to tug things in and then hyper connect them. It feels like that would be a decent move. Maybe we'd hold off on this ice ball in order to tug it closer too. Just to, you know, bring it in a little more. But right now it feels like it's on a perfect spot already. Basically, generally. I could just take the lichen farm here in order to upgrade this human planet and connect it to the water world. Allow me to do a machine interface on the water producing planet as well. And having a spare water, which might be useful for things. Like, oh, I don't know, fusion plants, right? Perhaps, that could be an option. So now, if I'm interested in gravitic tugs, in general, as well as this upgrade probably, in order to get this robot producing and this like mineral producing all into place so that everything can start working together here. That would mean so fixing this first, right? As well as getting these bloody microchips. Because the microchips are, well, lack of a better word, they're lacking. That's not good. They're lacking. But how am I going to make this mineral worlds work? I mean, if I could tug you up, right, then the microchip could be provided up here as well, which allows us to produce more food, which allows us to connect in an extra human planet, which allows us to connect this in. Or, you know, a hyperlane later could fix this. That would also be a thing. Be a bit slow, but it would be possible. I'd still want to do this Forge World, though. I mean, I could wait with that as well. Right, really be greedy, go this direction. I just want to complete the mission. I could just plonk it down, but, you know, what's the point? If I just do that? It might be the best option, though. Because there's no other way, other place where we want to really explicitly want to make this microchip. And over here, at least, you know, there's this input for this Forge World, there's this other input. Hyperlanes will make this happen, and, you know, that can just be a regular Slipways, sure. Just do it. Just give me more tasks. I want to complete that task. Okay, Forge Worlds too successful. Yeah, look, I would have loved to do that earlier. At least partly, I could have done that earlier. There's increased the production of ore by 8 units, which, you know, sounds like a lot, but it isn't when you consider there are 2 ore plants available, as well as one here and one there. 6 two-way trades is quite a few two-way trades. And the question mostly becomes, you know, what are we doing here? There's economic zones available, which could be good. I don't know how good. Ideally, we get some zones that, you know, are already selling most of their goods. Like this as a zone wouldn't really be all that good because they're only trading for 4 credits each, which would not mean a terribly great economic zone. But here, there's a decent one. And then there was another one that I spotted, which would be biometer and biometer here. And I think economic zones could be pretty nice for us too. That would then lead to hyperdrive directly. So we might not need the tugs, we could just skip on them. But the tugs themselves are fairly strong to use. I just don't know if I have the science output to be able to really take them. I don't think so. We don't have enough heavy science. We don't have the inventory stuff to really invest that heavily. I think I'll take the economic zones in order to get enough income to really use hyperlanes late in the game. That's 116. That's 5 minus 3. Minus 4 minus 3. Yeah, we're gonna make it so they don't all end up at -7 at the same time. That would be bad. Let's fix you. Because that's overdue. Right? Do I need to do that? I could not. And try to fix you with a robot, but it'll take a while, and we just decided not to get tugged, so I might be stuck with this for a bit. It's a bit unfortunate really how this ends up working out, because this need for a robot will take a while. Okay, so this good is nice to use here. We'll fix you up. That didn't really accomplish all that much. There's this economic zone. Yeah, it's 6 income, it's okay. And there's this one, which will be quite good, I think. Yeah, 9 income. So none of that really did anything, you know, towards accomplishing any missions. Now, the Euphorian mission is very, very tempting because it would discount things like hyperdrives, post-scarcity, sleep replacement, hyperdrive upgrade. And just in general, this is a very nice thing if we could do it. I think the other mission we'll go for is the ore production then. Because that seems like it would work well together with going for two-way trades. If we could find some ocean somewhere, that would do it by itself. Let's see if we can find some oceans here. Look at that, that's an ocean. This is excellent. This will do. We have enough income that I'm just more interested in the speed than I'm interested in the bits of money I can pick up by not doing things at the end/start of the year. Okay. Okay, we can get more microchips and ore here, or a relay, but you know, or some money. But we have 300 money in the bank at this point. I'll take this, although I'll connect it first, so I can do that. We have 4 microchips in total here. That is obfuscated. Hyperlanes here would be very nice. Is there a way of getting some water in here? So we can make another ore, so we can maybe research it? Just for a little bit of extra science, if I could somehow do so. And there's this connection that... I mean, that would do it, right? To have you as a water producer. There's also this area here, which could do a lab. Well, it could get a little bit more science, right? Like maybe up to about 20 ideally, to get us to the point where we will be able to get 2 or 3 of these like high-end techs, for which we would require an additional, oh, I don't know, 80, 100 to 230 total. And currently we're slated for about 170 total science. So we're off by about 60 science. So getting another 60 science before the end of the game would be our goal, which would be another what? Another 7-ish science. So yeah, another couple labs, or you know, 1 really big lab. Now we're already researching chips, so that's not an option. I wish it was, because there's quite a few available here, but that would not be a great idea. It would be rather inefficient to do so. I mean, it's possible, but I'd be hard-pressed to get more than about 4 science. In fact, more than about 3, I'd be hard-pressed, actually. Okay, so I sent that here, just to... Oh, makes a successful planet. Would you look at that? Even more brain-machine interfacing. We will interface the brain with the machines. Now, if I could research robots, would that help? Yeah, it's rather difficult to place that. If I had the hyperlanes already, it would be rather easy to do so, but nope. Does not seem very viable. The lack of forge worlds is, you know, yeah. Lack of goods everywhere, right? Thankfully, I got 1 extra here. I got 1 extra here. So with hyperlanes, we can get some more. in various places, which will get us quite a few more successful / prosperous places. This will probably have to be goods, I would imagine, in order to get these 2 places done. I wouldn't know what to do with all the humans, but maybe we'll just throw them into a lab in order to, you know, get them successful / prosperous, whatever. So yeah, the extra ore, maybe it could be an ore lab. There's no good way of making more, right? I mean, there's this, right? Just send it here, send it there, and then do that. It's not half bad. It takes care of a lot of these extra people that I don't see a good use for. Let's do it. It also makes more ore, which, you know, it's our mission to make more ore. So that sounds like a good deal. You know, then I'll just send in some ore. And some humans. The connections are fairly expensive at 20 a pop, but make an additional 4 science. Which, you know, it's not quite enough to get us to our goal of the amount of science I would like to have. It's fairly close. Now, if I invented the ability to switch up goods and robots, would that be of any good benefit whatsoever? Not right now is the answer. Right now it would do no good. Like all of 0. Because the only place that really has a bot spare is here, which you could send a good to this prosperous world that already has one. And not really anywhere else useful. I mean, it might be good later, but right now the hyperdrive is probably the most valuable of all the techs we could try to research. Fusion plants could be good too. If we had areas with water and chips spare, but we don't really. Like there's water needed in various places, or chips needed in various places. I guess there's spare chips here, but no water, so, you know. I could make water here, but it's going to be very convoluted to get it all together and require hyperlanes in the first place. So nope. That's not it either. Then, you know, all these 2-way trades, they're going to be more 2-way trades just on the virtue of having the hyperlanes. They're gonna enable some more 2-way trades to happen in various places. I would imagine so. Like especially here. If I go up one more planet, I do go to 32, so you know that does make quite a bit of difference. 32 income, that's quite significant. That's 4 minus 5. Yeah, these 2 are a bit hard to deal with, especially you. No robots. There are no robots, which is the issue. So no way of getting goods and robots, right? This does not work on like a ruin. No, that I would imagine not. That would be a bit silly if it did. So yeah, this is kind of stuck the way it is for quite a bit. I mean, just sending some water here will fix up this mission. Get us 2 science and 60 credits, which not, you know, not nothing. Just leaves us the Euphoria mission, which we'll hopefully be able to do with a little bit of finagling. Of like setting up some 2-way trades. There should be some left, although we've been fairly efficient with, you know, I've been trading. I'd imagine there'd be some left. At the very least, some options towards it. Like here with all these earths, right? Get you a good with a hyperlane, in fact. Although, I think it's too long, so we'd have to upgrade the hyperlanes first in order to get this connection. Once I do, I get some two-way trades. Like almost immediately. The water's already being sent to here, right? Yeah. I could upgrade this with this Earth-like by making this a colony. This also enables the 4-bar ruin, in fact. But an Earth-like colony doesn't enable any two-way trades, so... What would that accomplish? There's lots of Earth-likes here, but... Another one would require bolts then, which aren't here. I also really look in this direction because we're far away from the black hole here. This is very close, so there's likely a lot of planets still there that could be good. Let's get those hyperdrives, see if we can't use them to some extent. There's got to be some things we can do with them. Like everything is slightly out of range, which is sort of like... That's sort of a problem. That would be sort of a problem. What's this hyperlane? It doesn't accomplish anything, right? I'll hold off on the hyperlanes, actually. So we can't do something else first. Can we do, like, plasma containment first, for example? Would that be any usefulness? I could produce the extra good that way with the water instead of this. And I would enable myself to do a two-way trade here. Or here. What's that? Out of range. I was hoping I could maybe, get more biomatter in so we can research some more. Remember, I was still looking for a couple points of science as well. Not too many, but still a couple would be nice. You're out of range. Of course you are. Should I just have a look down here and see if we can't? I think I should. Okay. There's some two-way trades here. In fact, I think I should take those aggressively. So that seems really easy to incorporate into our structure. And I can just go into vast, but we get this colony, and we get this recycling operation, which is a two-way trade. And then get some goods here from, or robots. Does that matter? Not really. I suppose robots, right, because that forms a two-way trade. Yeah. Should I be... Maybe I should be doing the economic zone first? It does make a little more sense to do that first, actually. And then that pops another prosperous, right? And then you should form a two-way trade. Getting us, closer and closer to this mission as well. And then this should form. Now, that would be too far. And then I hoped to do mechanized harvest. Mechanized harvest allows you to do a two-way trade with this blue nose planet. If I build a colony on this Earth, I'll be able to do it, but I won't have food for a bit. will have a hard time getting its food. Sure, it will work. There's just no real way of doing any good research. I mean, it could... There's bots or water we could still research, but there's no real area to do so. Generally, can research one water, but that's no use. I guess I could research one water and 2 humans over here. If I was really careful with the positioning. I don't think it actually fits. Yeah, I would imagine so. Maybe we can get 1, but we can't get 2. So doesn't seem that useful. Let's do this. Right. 72. I have so much science available, but not really a good way to use it. And there's hyper lanes, right? Once we can afford sleep replacement, I should, go for that, but we can't, so. Well, that is another two-way trade. It does count. That is a robot, so if we can find another source of robots, that will work too. I could just make an ore and get 2 science. I could just find a two-way trade, right? If we can unlock the final Silthid mission, that is also worth 6 science. That might be a good possibility here. There's absolutely no possibilities there. I mean, that's not true. There's another lichen farm we could build. This one's actually going to be good. Why not? Alright, and send you in. There's that, but no real options for it. I could research some water, but feels iffy. So then, what do we research here? Rain machine interfacing isn't really all that useful at this point. That will probably be in range afterwards. What if I just did research some water here, right? You will get an extra person output, just, in general. There's loads of ice balls. And if I use some plasma containment, we could get the extra things with energy too. For the last 4 years, getting 1 more science station out here with an additional 3 science, is that going to make a difference, right? We have 108 science right now. We'll get possibly 1 of these techs and then stable jumps. I'd love to see something like post scarcity as well. If we could make it work. I don't think so. The everlasting monoliths could work. I need to find the 2 ore. That's really the big problem. There's 1 here, there's 1 there. There's not many available resources. I mean, this could be piped up down there to make it work. But yeah, I think I want a monolith, I think. And then we get stable jumps and then we just connect the monolith to everything. I think that would be our end game. Which would mean an extra, 110, 111, 132 science. We're currently aiming at 108. We're still 24 science off. 22 we consider this mission. 22 science. An additional science station that makes 3. We'll get us 12 of those 22. But it's still a bit off. Can I improve my existing stations in some way? Perhaps. Right, what about a microforge, right? What about a microforge? That would use up, the problem is that would use up the ore I've now got earmarked for a for one of those monoliths. Right, that's this ore that would have to be used up in order to get an additional 2 science here. Which, don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it don't work. It's that ore that's too far away. I might be able to discover some more. It's a bit unfortunate that I'm not able to upgrade my labs enough this run to be able to get the technologies you'd want, right? Because ideally it's stable jumps plus 1 more thing in order to, you know, use the fact that we have so many prosperous planets. Which ideally that other 1 more thing is going to be everlasting monoliths. A monolith down here, right, with this connection in, as well as, I don't know, this connection from here, right, with that in as well, we'll be able to get us an extra 10 or so happiness, which is a lot. That's significant. I just have to be able to build the lab for it, which is just the hard part. I mean, I could just throw in permafrost melting. If I could just get more bots. Because there would not be enough bots. Like, this one's already used. And there's no more of them. I mean, that's not entirely true, right? Like, there is flexible fabrication which can make a bot. That's it, isn't it? FlexiFab with extra water makes us a 5 science lab. And that's it. We go with water, human. We unlock flexible fabrication. We grab permafrost melting in order to hyperlane another water in there. FlexiFab here to send you a bolt, so we have an additional water available. And the additional water is quite useful to do, you know, stuff with, I suppose. It's needed in various places here. I could send it back there, I suppose. And we'll pop you, get you to 5, and now we have enough to hopefully get 3 more is 101. 10 science off, still. We're still 10 science off. We're very close now. Let's do that. Out of range thing. That's very much out of range, of course. That would also be out of range. Everyone be out of range. I could have you make goods, I suppose, right? Have you make goods if I ever wanted to. Well, there's some fairly good things to do with this tech I just unlocked, so that's nice. And brain-machine interface isn't really worth doing anymore at this point, so that makes things a little easy as well. Don't know how to get you food easily. It's kind of far away, all of it. And I guess I could make another one of those lichen farms. Feels a bit iffy. Also that, but you know, we could just connect that here. That'll be fine. It's just the lack of 1 more, right? I mean, I might be able to just throw in some humans into some of these labs, right? And that might do it. with hyperlanes. Can I do that already in some of those labs? Not over here. Not around here. Not really around there. I might be interested in just looking at fixing some of these broken plants at this point. But, you know, out of range, out of range, out of range. This water will also be able to go here, which is nice. I might want to pre-construct some of these things as well. I've got a human available here that I could send somewhere. There's no real lab in sight. I could build one more, but it's difficult. Send in a bot, maybe. So also a bunch of humans. I mean, a lab that takes a bot and a human and a human and a human is not too bad. We're just a few points of science short, right? So if I make 3 more points of science, that should get me enough to... I mean, yeah, that's nearly impossible to get right, isn't it? I'd like to do this in such a way that I can do it with the regular slipways rather than having to use hyperlanes, because, you know, hyperlane upkeep is a thing. I think this one's going to have to be a hyperlane, no matter what I do. Out of range. That's 2 more science, getting us to 66, 107. This is going to be 109. Is that enough? 111 if I get the Bakar thing, which I can just do as simple as that. Okay. So now I want to fix as many of these missing plants as possible. I can do this connection for January. Probably the first tech to take is stable jumps, so they can actually solve a lot of these problems that I've been leaving on the table. Right, like this one. So there's another 2-way trade, right? We still have to do this mission too. Gotta not forget that either. Yeah, about those, right? Pipe in a human to a lab. There we go. 59. Okay, we're on target. So even if I don't get another mission complete, it's still gonna be 59. Yeah, oh yeah, I factored this in already. I mean, I can do this as well, but I just needed to send 1 more human into a lab to be able to afford the final technology. There's this option, but that will preclude the ore to be used where I want it to be used. I want to do this because it creates the thing for the monolith, but you don't have to do that now. Inner eye on, you know, doing missions for prosperous plants, ideally. You're out of range, which is incredibly annoying, because we would have to do another lichen farm, which I'm not a fan in particular of. For what should be obvious reasons, it's kind of difficult to satisfy these high lichen farm, but that's minus 5% happiness. You're going to be minus 8%, you're going to be stuck, and that's just going to be a fact of life. I could have just done only use this one, but I didn't know that beforehand. So you need food. How we get you food? I think we'll just have to do 1 more planet for your food. And that's none of those. Wow, okay. Being difficult. I mean, this one will do, right? Just in the last year, just somewhere right before the last year, just, you know, have another unhappy planet and send it, you know, food to this Earth like. So then anything else? Any two-way trade, right? A two-way trade is what we're really after. If we do this two-way trade, we'd be using an ore. Well, we want to use these two, right? Because most prosperous plants are over here in the center. Probably not if I don't. Kind of weird, isn't it? Oh, this is kind of double dichotomy thing. Like, which ore do we need to keep, right? That's the important question. Which ore is necessary to keep, which is not. If I could somehow pipe an extra ore in there, I would be really happy with that. So maybe we keep trying to get a water in here. Getting a water in here would mean getting a bot here. Or just leaving it unhappy, right? That works too. That gives you the ore extra, which allows you to get a hyperlane, which allows you to pop prosperous. Additionally, I can, you know, get another one here as well. Well, I can get that from there as well. There's also the ability to build a robot here, but you're out of range. So, you know, where's this gonna get its ore from? There's no way. There's goods needed here, which could supply something there, which might become ore, which, I mean, that will never reach, right? Yeah, I would imagine so. Also, it takes too much time, I think, actually, at this point, in order to be able to finish that. Is there really no easy outs? I mean, this one, right? I guess we should do this one, no matter what. Okay, you get an ore-producing planet to prosperous. That should be easy. 7 more two-way trades, not so much. Same with 6 more chips. We can't get this 6 science. Good thing I built that additional lab, because, you know, relying on being able to do a task can sometimes be hard. So there's your extra ore. Need some more imports and exports. Won't get those for a while though. Well, I can give you one. It's just the final export that I'm not going to do yet, because it's going to be the monolith. So maybe do some other one first. I mean, all of these ore plants are going to have the same problem, aren't they? Or do they? Now, this one doesn't go up anymore. This one does, though, right? This one does go up to 4 production if we make it prosperous. So I can actually send this ore to 2 more places if I decide to increase its level further. But it would need more partners, right? That's the hard part. This is one partner, but it has no others easily reachable. If this was a bot, right? Could it? You can't quite. If you find another Forge World, then that would be really good. Should we try? Like, especially like here, for example, or there. And this will reach. It's just, is this a Forge World, right? If it is, let's try. It's not, but it's something that could work as well. Right? Like, I can produce a robot here, right, which turns it into 2. Or I could produce ore here as well directly, right? You're out of range, so that doesn't work. But this does work. Make water. I don't want to do that two-way trade. Send the water to the ore guy. Send the robot there. Then get you flexible fabrication, so you get a two-way trade and some extra money. And a successful planet, you know, not important. Send your ore down there, which upgrades both of them, and now, yeah, we have a lot of extra ore here. Then, let's see here. No people available for you, no water available for you, is there? But they're going to become prosperous once I build the monolith, which is nice. So let's try to get as many possible other prosperouses for the monolith. So what do you need? This one just wants another import or export at this point. It's already sending all its stuff everywhere, it's just that this one also wants another import or export. Let's send another human in there. There we go, 2 more prosperous planets, why not? And then I have another human available here as well. Could go there. There's another prosperous planet, why not? And this is now producing an extra water. Fine, I guess. There's another good available here, which would be very nice in that corner, which produces another. The whole field of prosperous planets here, right? If I could somehow... I don't think that works. I can send the person into a lab, but you know, that's unnecessary. This planet has not enough adjacencies by far, I would imagine, so yeah. You want another adjacency and another export. So if we could give you another adjacency, that would be nice, but you are not having any more persons available to provide that. And you're lacking a box that I don't believe I can get anymore. I can get one more box here. Can it reach? It can't. And you can reach here, I suppose. Right, for another two-way trade. Yeah, it has no neighbors, I suppose. So this would want, you know, another water output for this. Although I could send this water down there, right? That should produce an extra. Oh wow, yeah, 2 more prosperous plants. Look at that. Produces an extra microchip, which can then go in here. I mean, it's a bit of a shame to have all these prosperous plants and not be able to. What's the word? Not be able to capitalize on it. Because we're waiting for these monoliths. So now, the main question becomes, you know, what's the range on this? I think we'll forego, you know, these ones in the very top corner. And rather try to build the monolith a little closer, like here, for example, would be good. And now, I can make lots of happiness if I want with it. I will decline any more missions, I think. And we'll connect as many things up as possible after making as many things prosperous as possible. There's still a couple planets left, right? Like this one not having any goods is probably something that holds up a fair few prosperous planets, I would imagine. Yeah, 3 of them, in fact. So that's nice. Yeah, that seems fine. What about you? You want just another partner? That's another 2 prosperous planets, right? That's 5 happiness. Yeah, that's worth doing. Anything else? I mean, you could become successful, I suppose, right? but not easily prosperous because you would need an extra biomatter or an extra thing. So it's not really too important. You want an extra input of something which we can't give you easily. Same here. Sending out a person would be nice. It's already sending it there though. That would be the perfect place. Ooh, can I do that? We're extra prosperous. I sure can. And that improves the monolith at the same time, right? Because this scales with the amount of prosperous planets connected to it. The more prosperous things we connect to it, the better, but... so what do you want? Another export, ideally. Or import. But it's already importing everything, so... And that counts, right? Is that another 2%? Yeah, every prosperous planet is 2%. So now, the more I connect to you, the more happiness we make, right? So we just sort of 6%, 7%, 8%. There we go. That's as far as it goes. Just try to scale the monolith as much as possible. 18,931. Yeah, that's something new. Everlasting monolith. Although I suppose I kind of ran out of time before we really were able to do it, but I still think that, you know, the extra 8% happiness made building the lab maybe a good idea? Maybe not, right? Because not having to build that would have maybe led to more prosperous planets, which would be probably more happiness. It's kind of difficult to connect that many things into one of these things. It's still a neat tech. It just takes too much time, I suppose. At least this run, right? If we had a little bit more time, then it would work. So we first went brain-machine interface, which was very good. Right? It ended up making us a lot of money. Same with gene adjustment, just being quite helpful in general. The brain-machine interface was more the star of this. And then freeze-resistant bots to get higher in the tech tree earlier. So we had a lot of good tier 2 techs now at that point. Which would start with economic zones. And then hyperdrive, of course. Into flexible fab, into stable jumps. And then finally, but not least, everlasting monolith. Which I don't think we've done before. I have a look here. Yeah, this is the first run with everlasting monoliths. Neat. We got from the Bakar. Hopefully this actually improves our thing a bit. The Bakar so far have been my weakest race, interestingly. Although our sample size is still, I think, a bit too small to say really anything definitive about that sort of thing. But yeah, an okay run on Tough. Not a great one, but still, you know, it's I would say 21 prosperous planets is acceptable. We had a very low amount of legacy, really. That's the main problem. I don't know really what were the main culprits with that. I suppose it was the Euphorian missions being like 5 two-way trades and another 6 two-way trades. Those turned out to be surprisingly difficult. Generally speaking, having more Earth-like planets actually makes those missions more difficult. Because Earth-like planets cannot do any two-way trades. Except with Arctics and Arids. Right? As a Gaia world, it's the only way they can do two-way trades. But there were none. Well, there were a couple near some. But generally speaking, right, the Arctic, the Arid, the ocean, and in some sense, ice ball upgrades with remnants and all that. Right, remnants into ice balls can do two-way trades. Not a lot else, and that that showed. And that really held everything up for quite a long time. The other missions we did, I mean, we did some Silphid mission that turned out to be quite difficult, right? Making microchips. This wasn't really the galaxy that was interested in a lot of microchips, although we did make some. It just ended up being the case, of course, that we just made 3, just as we unlocked the mission to make 3 more, which that's never nice. Just the starting missions turned out to be quite tricky, right? There was 2-way trades as well as an exploration thing, I believe. Still, it's not a bad score. GG. And a good night, I suppose. Right? Me ending it here.